I'm Nathan Stelzer, David's little brother. This is my wife, Michelle. We've been married 30 years, so that's been a real blessing. And then my oldest son here is Nathaniel, and his beautiful wife, Sarah, and their two children, Leanna and Aaliyah is the two girls. And then we have another son that's not present here. His name is Isaiah. He's working on putting up the new building in Morrow. So he's over on that project right now. And then after him, we have Daniel. After him, we finally got a girl, and that was Gretchen.
No, you're missing it. Yeah, yes, yeah.
And after Gretchen, we had another son. His name is Obed, and he's in Missouri right now, so he's not present. And then after Obed comes Ethan. And then after Ethan is Alessandra. And then after Alessandra is Peter. So that covers all of them for now. When Azure was smaller, I did a lot of the maintenance, and if a truck broke down, I'd take care of it with Azure. Pulled orders late into the night whenever we were working long hours in building the company. And even though I played in a band, we always had to do an hour of music. Even if we worked till 3 a.m, we were so dedicated, we'd still get the hour in and do that as well. Then it came to the point where we needed more grain because Azure was growing and we were expanding. My dad had a mobile home park up in Yakima, which he sold and bought the Morrow place. And so the farm ground suddenly doubled in size of what we were farming previously. And so I decided to take over managing most of the dry land wheat. And at the time, my nephew, Martin, he did the cattle years back. And he moved away, in 2012, somewhere in there. So Daniel, my son, he takes care of the cattle now. And so as the boys got older, then they started helping me more and more, which was very welcomed. I welcomed their help. So we do a lot of grains, hay for the cattle, stuff like that. And then anytime at Azure, whenever they're shorthanded or stuff, the boys would run there and pull orders or get caught up on inventory or anything like that, then they would be willing to jump in and do that. So the farm is more of an indirect contribution to Azure as providing goods for it, whereas pulling orders is more direct on. But overall, we've been involved with Azure from the beginning. We kind of have the farm set up, or Azure is set up to help market the farm products, so it's tied together as far as I can see it. It's one unit. So
what's it like working with your brother?
It could be trying, and yet it could be a blessing. I mean, at times you can be like in a disagreement, and it's hard to have something go this way when you think it should be going another way, And so since he's the head and more of the authority, kind of let it go that way. But then on the other hand, at times when you feel like you're on the same page and everything's going the way you want it to, it feels like there's nothing we can't accomplish. I mean, the sky's the limit. So I think that strength and unity of two working together, also putting the whole family into it, makes strength in numbers and makes you accomplish way more than what you can just accomplish on your own.
One thing that I've found working with a lot of my brothers is we all have different interests. We all have different strengths. And so if we can use that in the right way, what I'm like, I don't really feel like doing that. Another one of my brothers is like, oh, that's no big deal. That's totally easy. And I'm like, okay, go for it. Do it. And then other things that they're like, I don't know, this seems really hard. I'm like, no, that's right in my alley. So it works really well if you can all work together. And
there's a lot of people that only have 1 or 2 children. And I've got 6 boys. And I think they almost all have slightly different interests. God gave them slightly different interests, and being able to train them up to still be compatible and working together and put those different interests and work together, it's the what they can accomplish is almost unfathomable. When Nathaniel was young, I think he was 5 years old, we had a bunch of rocks out in the middle of the field. It was kind of like a rock breaker, and I wanted to clear it out so we could put a wheel line through there. And so I threw him out on that excavator and said, pick up these rocks and put them in the dump truck and just wave me down and I'll come dump it, because he was too little to even drive a dump truck. So he was out there, and so that was kind of his first schooling with heavy equipment, and it kind of got him hooked on it. He really enjoyed heavy equipment after that. So a few years after that, we decided to put in that reservoir for holding water for irrigation. And so we were getting in contractors and all types of bids to see who could do the job. And it was real subby in there. And so you'd have to scoop the dirt off. And once you got down to about 2 feet, it was just too wet to work with. So you'd have to take that wet dirt, put it on that hill and dry it to get to between 18 and 22% moisture, because that's what you have to compact into a dam. And so all the contractors were like, yeah, we would do it. And they just gave us huge figures on doing it, because they'd have to haul all their equipment in, remove the dirt, put it up on the hill, let it dry, go to another job, come back in and do it again. And it was probably in about 3 years for them to finish the job. So it was really a high bid that they did. And so I was like, well, our boys are getting bigger. I guess we'll just try hammering it out ourselves. So we got all the boys out on equipment and started
And the girl.
and the girl too. Yeah. Started working away, and they have the inspector that comes in and makes sure everything's done to capacity. And he was really impressed. He said, I've never seen a crew of all children and they do such a good job. He said, I get in here and people sit there and they go get a skid steer if they find a rock like this and try to move it off to the edge, because when you compact it in, you can't have anything bigger than 8 inches. And he said, your guys, they just jump off the equipment, grab the rock, throw it off, jump back on, and it's just done. And he said, everything I test, it's up to specs. They're just doing a good job. He was just really impressed. But it really impressed him that children could stick with the job and be dedicated. And I think that's probably, as a father, is the thing, is to instill into them the dedication of why you're doing it and what you're doing it for and the long-term effects it's going to be from it. So.